Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Do Big podcast. We're almost towards the end of 2023. We're in the month of December. And the year of 2023, we saw a lot of changes as far as technology was concerned. AI came in really rapidly. We thought it was in the distant future, but ChatGPT brought in a change in the game. So generative AI suddenly became a part of our everyday lives. Cloud services, SaaS services, etc., all gained momentum. And we really saw a lot of changes in 2023. To set the stage for tech trends in 2024, we have with us Biswapriya Bhattacharjee, who is the Director, B2B and Technology Insights Division at Kantar. Biswapriya, or popularly known as Biswa, is a marketing professional with over 2 decades of experience across various domains like sales, program management, research, and marketing consulting. He currently leads the tech market research practice group at Kantar, like I mentioned. As a tech researcher, he shares his views on tech regularly, whether it is on hardware, software, or emerging tech areas. Today, we're going to understand the tech trends for 2024. Welcome, Biswa, to the Do Big podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Great pleasure to be here and looking forward to a very engaging conversation with you.
Thank you, Biswa. Biswa, in this podcast, in the Do Big podcast, we really talk and focus about how MSMEs can get to know their technologies better and leverage new technologies in their businesses. And just to understand, when you think of 2023, can you tell us how you feel technology has played a pivotal role in shaping the business landscape from an MSME lens? And were there any standout trends or developments that have caught your attention?
Yeah, I think the MSME overall has seen significant influx of technology since the pandemic. Prior to the pandemic, the usage of technology has been rather limited in this sector. But in the last 3 years, we have seen huge amount of technological growth in these businesses. If I look at 2023 alone, there are three big things that we are seeing happening, right? The first is growth of SaaS and cloud in these businesses. So we are seeing a lot more of adoption of SaaS-based solutions. And here I'm not referring to SaaS-based solutions like productivity solutions or collaborative solutions. Businesses have moved beyond those to solutions like those in the space of financials, in the space of HR, in the space of overall business management and ERP-led solutions as such. And that's a big area that we have seen. The other big area that we have seen grow in the last 1 year and coming of age, so to say, is the whole digital space. Now, digital is a very broad area if you look at, but whether it's in terms of building a digital hierarchy of solutions, it's the SMEs who have now started adopting it. So in Kantar, we define a hierarchy of digital evolution where the highest level of adoption of digital solutions is what we call as engaged digital businesses. So these are businesses who actually use digital solutions to drive their business, not only as an enabler. And in the last 3 years, these kind of businesses have grown almost threefold. About half of the SME businesses today are actually digitally engaged businesses. So whether it's actually doing digital marketing, whether it's actually building their brand digitally, or whether it's actually running their financials through a digital ecosystem. That's been a major shift that we have seen in the use of technology in driving business growth in the last 3 years or so, and has been a pivotal driver in 2023. The third thing that we've also seen is the growth in the security as such. Technology security, and as opposed to hard-coded security, is something that has actually taken off in 2023. Endpoint security is something that has always been there, and businesses have spoken about it, looked at it in the past. But 2022 is where a lot of businesses, specifically SME businesses globally, faced a lot of online threats. And that has actually mobilized businesses to start thinking of having more advanced security into their network than just an endpoint security. And therefore, the whole conceptualization or the whole understanding of the fact that they need to build in cybersecurity solutions as a part of their repository of technology solutions that they adopt is something that has taken shape over the last 1 year or so.
So that's really interesting because you're talking about growth of SaaS and cloud. You're talking about the digital space, which you're really talking about digital hierarchy and have, the fact that there are so many engaged businesses. Can you tell me what's really, other than the pandemic, have there been other factors which have kind of driven this whole shift towards SMBs, adopting digital so quickly?
Well, I would say while there are several factors, right, and we have seen for any technology, there is an adoption curve that businesses follow. Like consumers do, businesses also follow a certain adoption curve. The pandemic rather has actually hastened that whole process. The catalytic effect of pandemic has what brought all of this into light. It is not that we wouldn't have seen all of this happening, but the fact that it's happened at such a fast pace is what pandemic has done. There's another aspect which has also driven. So the pandemic is an external aspect. The fact that because of the pandemic again, a lot of technology companies have also been required to bring in solutions which are more amenable to MSMEs or SMEs have also happened. So there is no longer a concept that you design a solution which is meant for large organization and then you actually cut it down and then offer it to SMEs. That's what used to happen in the past, right? You give a stripped down version of the same solution and make it an SME solution. Post pandemic, that thinking has changed as well because the businesses have started realizing, the technology companies have started realizing that SMEs need solutions which are different from the large enterprises, and therefore there's a need for us to address those requirements as well. So that's what I think. So these are the two factors that I think. The pandemic, of course, has been a huge factor, but that's actually led businesses and the technology companies to look at things differently and come up with solutions. And there's been a very good convergence that's happening of the two, which is where we have now started seeing this growth happen.
So, we're almost at the end of the year and we're stepping into 2024. I just want to understand which or what are the new technology trends that you believe will have the potential to significantly impact SMEs? And what should they be on the lookout for?
Well, I think it's an interesting question because 2024 is a year of uncertainty, as we are calling it, right? It's not only the challenges around the war, etc., that we are seeing. There is a financial crisis that's looming around, and of course, then in the Indian context, there is also the elections, and we have seen things change during an election year as well, right? So I think the core aspect that will drive 2024 and technology in 2024 is going to be data, because we will start seeing increased adoption of data, increased usage of data, and we'll start seeing how data become an efficiency builder, helps business to scale, and therefore help them generate revenue. So given that, from a Kanta perspective, we see three kinds of things happening, or three kinds of technologies that actually become. The first is IoT-based solutions. Now, IoT-based solutions have been there in the periphery for a while. We have heard about the Industry 4.0, etc., but these have largely been in the large organization realm as such. 2024 is when we actually believe that we'd start seeing that a lot more in the mainstream SME space. Now, given that you would have IoT, you would have a lot of data. And if you have a lot of data, you'd also need to analyze those data. And that's where AI and ML will come in. So you would start seeing a lot more usage of AI ML in case of SMEs as such. Not only in terms of IoT data, but you'd also have a lot of other data. And with the focus on driving efficiency, we would also see AI ML bringing in the efficiency quotient to the entire business management function. And finally, when we have so much of data and so much of analytics built in, you need to put them somewhere. You have to store them somewhere. So data centers would actually therefore also become more and more important, right? And as businesses are realizing with a lot of threats, cybersecurity becomes very important. And therefore, businesses would like to have better control on that data as well. So they would start looking at co-located data centers, etc. And that's what is going to be possibly a norm going forward. So that's how we see it. These are the three big things that we believe will happen in addition to what we have seen in 2023, which we believe will continue as such.
So that's very interesting, right? Because over the last few years, we've seen large organizations focus on collecting data. And it's only now that we're seeing a shift towards large organizations investing in decoding that data. So using AI and ML to kind of use data to build productivity and build in efficiencies, right? When you talk about SMEs and what SMEs are going to do with data, so yes, data collection is one aspect of it. But where do you see SMEs having to focus on? Is it going to be on data collection? Is it going to be on other aspects of data management? That's one question for you. And the second aspect, which is really connected with consumer data, because MSMEs are going to be collecting a lot of consumer data, in which case, what about data privacy? So, two different questions within the data question.
Right. I think let me answer the first one first. So, what do they focus on? I think what's happening today is that data is kind of omnipresent. All businesses have access to huge amount of data, whether they like it or they don't like it. They end up getting access to that data. So the challenge is not about having access to data. It is about storing it, about managing it, and making use of it in taking business decisions. So I believe what's going to happen is that the data is going to come in anyway. The business has a choice of whether they want to store and use that data or they don't want to store and use that data. And increasingly, what we are seeing is that businesses are taking a call to store and use that data. Then let it go. Now, once they are storing and using the data, they have to build in analytical models and solutions that can help them use that data. And when you're getting data, which is huge, large data sets, we are not talking about small data here, right? When you look at these big data sets that you have, you really cannot analyze them through human interventions as such, right? You need AI solutions, etc., and that's where the AI comes in. So the progression that I see is that the data is there, the data comes in, you use that data, you use AI, ML, etc., to make use of that data, understand that data, and then you have to, of course, store it securely to ensure that the data is not lost. There is nobody else who gets access to that data who should not get access to that data, right? Because you are getting that data in confidence, customer or wherever you're getting it from. You have to actually ensure that the data is always protected. And that's why the data centers become very important and the cybersecurity on top of it becomes very important. So I think it's a continuum of how the data plays a role and therefore why these three things become important. To your question on data protection and data privacy, I guess we now have a law on data protection, data privacy as well in the country. It's, of course, we are still looking out for the specific aspects of that law. But what that actually does is that it actually gives everyone the data, somebody who holds that data, making them responsible for the data. And that means that there has to be a lot more interventions of technology that comes in to ensure that you are able to track where that data is going, where are you storing it, how are you storing it, etc. The protection only ensures that you bring in a lot more of technology intervention towards ensuring that you have that data protected at all points in time.
You spoke about AI and ML, and I think one of the things that happened in 2023 is the conversations around AI really went around generative AI and not really AI for other uses. And I just want to understand that when you talk about data and when you talk about AI and ML with the context of data, where do you see AI evolving and how do you see it impacting SMEs? And I'm okay if you want to break this up as generative AI and other AI, but what will be the game changers for them?
See, I think the core is that it will drive efficiency. The focus is going to be efficiency, right? As I started off by saying, 2024 will be a year of where the focus is going to be on efficiency as much as generating revenue. And AI and ML is going to actually ensure that there is enough of efficiency built in. The efficiency can be in any way, whether it is in terms of analyzing large data set or whether it's in terms of providing basic customer service, which AI bot, for example, does. It could be in any way that this AI can come in, right? It could be also a generative AI, which can actually do a lot of your tasks, whether it's kind of transcripts, creating transcripts, or kind of pooling together information from multiple data sources to create a report for you, and so on and so forth. There are many areas in which the AIs would work. I think what is going to be a game changer, and I guess that is going to be very interesting, is when a mid-sized company can actually use AI or generative AI to read through multiple sets of proprietary databases of their own. Could be a Salesforce at one hand, could be an ERP at the other hand, could be a manufacturing solution at the other end, to actually manage that entire process end to end. So, from the point of knowing what is your pipeline for sale, to knowing for that kind of a pipeline and for that kind of a profile of pipeline, what is the kind of conversion and therefore what you need, to actually seeing what is there in your inventory, what is the kind of pipeline, the kind of manufacturing capabilities you need, what is the kind of raw material stocks you have, etc., and automating that whole process, right, across multiple data. You can do this in a single database, but when businesses today are not using single databases, so what they actually do is they create kind of solutions on top of these solutions. If the AI or a generative AI can actually bridge this whole journey for the business, a CEO or a business lead actually then starts seeing a lot more advantages.
Okay. And we spoke about cloud and SaaS as one of the things that has happened in 2023. Where do you see cloud and SaaS solutions in 2024? And what is the role that cloud and SaaS solutions will continue to play for the engaged digital businesses? And I'm sure that you have another level of businesses which are not as as proactive as the engaged digital businesses. Where do you see them on the curve of adoption of SaaS and cloud?
Well, I think the SaaS and cloud solution adoption has just about started, where we are just about reaching a point where we start seeing the next level of growth. I believe the next level of growth is where you would start seeing a lot more of integrated solutions coming in, SaaS-based solutions coming in, the likes of what we see in large businesses today. So whether it's SAP kind of solutions, etc., or these small and micro businesses and mid-sized businesses, many of them actually use a lot of those solutions. That's one area that I'm seeing a growth on. The other thing which I'm seeing from a cloud perspective is how some of the workflows are therefore going to be completely automated. So whether it's marketing led workflows. So when I say marketing led workflows, what we believe and what we see is you would start seeing generative AI at play, where there's the creation of campaigns, etc. You would start seeing kind of SaaS solutions in play, which would actually help you connect with those platforms to actually launch your campaigns. And then you would have the platforms itself capturing the data and helping you analyze that data through a solution of its own kind. And then as a marketeer, as a single person, you can start collating all of this together to build a very cohesive understanding of your consumer and how can you target. Those are the kind of solutions where a SaaS solution with generative AI solutions would actually start helping build a cohesive understanding of the consumer.
So that's one advantage of cloud and SaaS and an integration of the two. And with AI, sorry, SaaS with AI and the integration of all of it. What are the other advantages or opportunities that you see for MSMEs when they embrace these technologies?
See, I think the most important thing when MSMEs look at embracing this technology is to determine what is the kind of return on investments. As I said, businesses are looking at generating revenue and trying to figure out how they can be more efficient, which basically means at the end of the day, what's the kind of bottom line for a MSME to actually see advantage of any technology. They will have to start seeing ROI, and most businesses look for ROI as immediate ROI rather than long term ROI. So how can we make them see immediate ROI in a technology solution is what is going to be the most important aspect that will drive the adoption of technology in MSME sectors as such.
There is always fear and there is always hesitancy on adopting technologies amongst MSMEs. And this fear or hesitation comes from the fact that there is a lack of awareness, b, and there is a lot of investments that are required. What do you think MSMEs can do best when it comes to addressing these issues?
Well, I think from an MSME perspective, it's important to understand who runs these MSMEs, right? A lot of the businesses, the business owners are the sole decision makers for everything, whether it is marketing, whether it is product, or whether it is technology, right? They cannot be the experts in all these areas. Now, what happens, therefore, is that they go through word of mouth. They depend on people whom they believe might have an information, but in most cases, their peers might be on the same boat as well. Therefore, there is a need for intervention. So it is not as much the MSMEs, but the need for a set of technology organizations who can play the role of educating these MSMEs in terms of what should they look at, what would actually make them actually be better, use technology more efficient. And what we have seen in many of the cases is businesses, technology partners who have actually done that have not only kind of done well themselves, which is understandable, but has also helped grow that form of technology a lot more amongst the MSME segment. So it's important to build a solution around educating the businesses. As you said, building awareness is very critical for them. So how do you actually build awareness is very critical. It is also about building credibility. So it is also about, therefore, bringing in people who they know, whom they have seen, or might actually aspire to become, and have them speak to them. So maybe somebody who can be a potential role model of theirs and allow them to talk about how technology has helped them modify their businesses, change their businesses as such. Those are the kind of stuff that will help these MSMEs, because otherwise the MSMEs will always struggle and they will always go around the same sets of solutions that they would know. And that is not really helping the MSMEs today.
You started the conversation by saying that 2024 is the year of uncertainty. And I just want to understand if we step into 2024 or as we step into 2024, could you distill your entire experience and insights into one piece of advice for SMEs who are looking to leverage technology in 2024? And just so that in a year of uncertainty, they can be certain about some things at least.
I think build the conviction that technology is a business driver. I think that's the one key thing. If MSMEs can build that conviction that technology can help them grow their business, drive their business, everything else for them will be a lot easier. And they will start investing in technology and start seeing it more positively.
And how can they ensure that they're not just adopting technology for the sake of it. We always hear about people doing things to stay on trend or out of the fear of missing out. How do they ensure that they're not just adopting technology for the sake of it, but they're truly going to harness its power for growth and innovation?
The only way in which we have seen businesses do this, and we've spoken to a lot of businesses who actually have done very well with the technology versus who have struggled with the technology. And the core differentiation is when they got into that, adopting that technology, did they know what they're getting? And we realized that that's the core difference. If they knew what exactly they wanted out of that technology, they have been able to do far better with that technology than them having got into it without really knowing what it means for them, what it means for their business. I'll give you a very simple example. A business we spoke to, and this is a very simple solution, case in point. They invested in a SaaS based financial solution, but they were in a place where their internet itself is not stable enough. Right now, when the internet itself was not stable enough for whatever reasons, right, location, the kind of connectivity, etc., a SaaS based solution did not make sense for them. But there weren't anyone, neither the vendor nor a system integrator or their business people in the organization would be able to foresee that as a challenge and advise them not to look at a solution which is SaaS based, but look at a more of a desktop based solution or client side based solution. Now, that is what happens when you actually go with the trend at times without necessarily looking at your business imperatives and what you need to actually do to win in the area and in the within the constraints that you are working in.
So, what you're really saying is that as a business person, it's best that they focus on which areas they need intervention on and define the outcomes of the intervention clearly. The technology then or the supporter then will actually be able to find the right solution. Have I got that right, or have I misconstrued what you said?
Yes, with no, exactly what I said, with the only aspect being that you need to work with the right partners. You need to know who the right partner is. So long as you are able to identify that right partner for those kind of solutions, and when I say right partner, I don't mean a solution as such, right? Somebody, a partner whom you can trust intrinsically, the partner who actually would give you an advice which is not driven by only their short-term business ambitions or business growth as such. That is the partner you should work with. So you need to, as a businessman, you need to understand that while you do not know technology and you are therefore handing over that decision to someone, that person or that organization is an organization that would be able to give you the right solution. That's important.
So, to end our conversation, Biswa, just if you had to advise MSMEs on three things that they should do when they're identifying the right partner. So, just three things that they should keep in mind while identifying the right business partner. What would you advise them with?
I think the first thing is to look at if they have worked with other MSMEs. If they have worked with other MSMEs, they understand MSMEs. The second thing is when you interact with them, and businessmen have this knack of picking up, when you interact with them, are they really trying to sell you, or are they really interested in also ensuring that you win to that investment that you make? So are they looking at short-term sales, or are they really looking at investing in you as a for your growth as such? And the third thing is that when you look at the options, right, you need to look at the rational factors that drive decision making. While you go through all of this, you still need to look at those two partners, three partners. You should still go through those processes that has worked for you in the past, right? Just because it's technology, you don't need to get head on into or with one partner or with one company. You need to still do your due diligence. You cannot really let the due diligence be as is. So I'd say these three things.
Okay, great. Biswa, just to wrap up, 2024, the year of uncertainty, the three big areas where you are seeing a shift in the trends in technology are the usage of IoT based solutions, AI and ML, especially in the case of SMEs, where they are going to be collecting a lot of data inadvertently, whether they like it or not. And therefore, the decision that they have to make is, am I going to use that data or am I not going to use that data? And if they do plan to use that data, then AI and ML will be very, very important. And the third related piece is going to be about data centers. When we talk about data centers, I just want to get a sense from you as to what do you think is going to happen in the space of data centers for MSMEs?
Well, I think the growth of the data center itself, the need to have higher security, as I said, is important. And therefore, what you might have today may not be enough. What MSMEs do today from a data management perspective is either have it in their own premise or they use a public cloud. Neither of that is actually going to be enough in this kind of scenario. And therefore, the need for them to work with a data center provider where they can, depending on how they look at it, co-locate their data centers, etc., is going to be very, very critical. I think also as data grows and the amount of data that they handle grows, they would start looking at backup data centers as well. And there'd be a need for them to start investing in backup data centers as well. And we'll start seeing them moving the same route as a large organization did maybe 10 years back or 15 years back when they were adopting data centers. It's just that this process is going to be a lot faster than what a large business went through 15 years back.
Great. Thank you so much, Biswa, for this very, very interesting conversation. And I'm hoping that our MSMEs have learned a lot from you today. I'm sure that they're all going to dig their heels into IoT based solutions, AI, ML, and data centers based on what you have spoken about as the three key trends for 2024. Biswa, we look forward to chatting with you again in 2024. On that note, thank you very, very much for being on the Do Big podcast today. Thank you for all your insights and thank you for being so open with your views and thoughts on this episode. Thank you so much.
Thanks a ton. Thank you so much.
Thank you for tuning in to the Do Big podcast, a podcast that is dedicated to providing insights, strategies, and success stories of smart digital solutions for SMEs. We believe that behind every successful business, there's a strong foundation of reliable and secure technology, be it digital connectivity, cloud infra, cloud apps, collaboration tools, or cybersecurity solutions. In a rapidly evolving digital world where technology is key to progress, Tata Tele Business Services stands at the forefront of digital transformation of SMEs. Tata Tele Business Services, with their extensive experience and commitment to empowering businesses, understands the unique needs of SMEs. Tata Tele Business Services, with their extensive experience and commitment to empowering businesses, understands the unique needs of SMEs. Whether it's scalable connectivity, robust communication tools, or tailored ICT solutions, Tata Tele Business Services is here to propel your business forward. Tata Tele Business Services is synonymous with innovation, reliability, and transformative solutions. With a legacy spanning decades, Tata Tele Business Services has been empowering businesses and transforming lives across the nation. So, if you're ready to take your organization to new heights of success, we encourage you to explore the transformative possibilities that Tata Tele Business Services has to offer. Our contact details are in the description below. Remember, we're available on major podcast platforms. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, subscribe to our podcast for future episodes, which we promise will be packed with equally valuable insights on questions entrepreneurs face as they digitize and scale businesses with the help of technology. Don't forget to rate and review our podcast as well as share it with peers, colleagues, and other entrepreneurs like yourself who will benefit from listening to it. Thank you for listening to us, and until the next time, keep embracing technology and may your business thrive in the digital era.